Hey family, it's your favorite life and dating coach, Coach Sean, and I'm actually here today with another letter that was sent to me from one of you. In case you guys want to support the movement, you definitely want to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy Christian life and dating advice, and also be sure to purchase one of my books, if not both of my books. The first one is called The Dating Game, How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right, and my second book is called Breaking the Man Code, The Key to Unlocking His Heart. Both of my books are available on Amazon.com, Kindle, and BarnesandNoble.com. I'll be sure to link both my books below. Without any further ado, let's get started with today's video. Let's go get them. Thank you for touching people's lives with your advice. God bless you. Please, I need your help/advice. I recently moved to Canada from Africa a year ago. Before I moved, there was a lot of pressure to get married on time because I was clocking 30 and I had PCOS. In December 2015, I met a man who recently came from Canada to visit. He looked and sounded decent. I'll call him David. He is of African descent too, and he's 35 years old. He asked me to marry him, but he is presently married to a white woman. Girl, what? He said he married her for papers, and they've been married for 10 years. This woman has 2 kids of her own from a former marriage, both adults, and she is 51 years old. He promised me that he had planned on divorcing her soon. I told my parents and siblings about this. I was surprised when they asked me to go ahead with it because it's a very popular thing for a man to marry a woman abroad for papers. He was so much of a hurry and wanted us to get engaged traditionally where both parents will meet. He returned to Africa in mid-2016 and I became pregnant immediately, which surprising due to my health condition. Since I got here, the story changes. He told me that he feels sorry for his wife and cannot leave her now. He makes 4 times the amount that I'm earning. I live alone and I'm the only one majorly taking care of myself financially. I notice he borrows money from me, but he never pays it back. He later told me he is in a debt situation. He was living a flamboyant life with this woman, traveling around the world and staying in expensive hotels. He said he regrets it now, but he's trying to live right and pay it all back. To the main issue, he has yet to divorce this woman, and I'm okay with that because I notice he has a lot of flaws that I cannot live with. He really helps with man chores and he's a good father, but I also notice that he gets angry easily and he hates to hear the truth. He gets verbally abusive too, which might be my fault. He tries to order me around and I resist this sometimes. He tells me who I can and cannot interact with. He wants to have access to my phone every time he's at my place to see who I'm talking to. After insulting me, he always returns, begging seriously, even crying, telling me that it's all my fault, but he'll never do it again. Girl, you sound like something else. Anyway, if I tell him that I'm tired of the relationship, he'll tell me that I'm a wicked person and that he'll remind me of all the things that he's done for me, like helping me get settled in Canada, told me how things run here, helped me to find my first job. He will also say that he cannot live without me and that if I leave, his life will be over. This letter is probably one of the longest strawberry letters I have ever received in all the years that I've been doing this, so I am definitely going to be summarizing this bad boy up. But anyway, the writer goes on to say that she has to keep her relationship with this married man a secret from his wife, and the family knows about it. Everybody knows about the relationship except the wife. Now, as I said, the wife is 51 years old. The wife is demanding that the writer of the letter introduce her to her son, because she said that she's the child's stepmom and that she's demanding to be in the child's life. So the wife has gone so far as to even have this child placed on her medical insurance. She says that she's doing all of this to save them both money. So the wife has no idea these two are still together. Now, the writer of the letter says that she wants nothing to do with the man, but the only reason why she's putting up with this whole charade is because every time he gets mad at her, he threatens to sue her for 50% custody of his son. And, you know, he's been pressuring her. Everybody's been pressuring her. Now, the writer of the letter says that she's changed her life. She doesn't mind putting up with any of the consequences of her actions herself, but she doesn't feel comfortable letting her child go with this other woman. Keep in mind, these people are back and forth in and out of Africa and Canada. And so the writer doesn't know what she should do. When you allow a married man to pursue you, you run the risk of them getting back together and you being out here looking crazy. Now, the reason why I wanted to do your letter is because this is a cautionary tale for all of you out there in relationships with married men, deluding yourself into thinking that one day he's going to leave his wife and be with you. Because most of the time that doesn't happen. Or when it does happen, the relationship isn't the same. Because one of the things that he liked about you was the fact that you were a secret. And it was fun. Going in and out of hotels and keeping secrets and texting and all that. They wanted the excitement of it. Maybe they got bored in their marriage and they wanted a little bit of excitement, a little bit of adventure. But they're using you. Because if he truly loved you, he would respect you enough to not make you the other woman. A man that loves you would never make you his mistress, would ever put you in a situation where you would ever have to think for a moment that he loves somebody else and not you. If you're in a situation like this, you need to remove yourself because God would never bless a union between you and somebody else's husband. If you get him in a ski-mask way, you're going to lose him in a ski-mask way, okay? You got to be classy about how you're dating, and you would never want somebody else to be dating your husband, so why would you do it? Even the fact that you said, he married her for papers and that's okay. So you were okay with him using somebody else, and you never thought for a second that he could be using you? Because that's exactly what I think is going on here. When I read your letter the second time, something really stood out to me. The fact that the wife here is 51 years old with 2 grown children, and how she is so almost creepy with how much she really wants to be in your son's life. And I think for a moment, I think they want to play house, but they needed your child to do it. I feel like in a way they tried to use you as a surrogate. She might be 51 years old and unable to have her own child. And here you come. Maybe she even granted her husband permission for this one fling, this one sexual encounter that they hope would result in a baby. How do you know they're not using you? They're definitely using you for your money. You said he makes 4 times the amount of money than you do, but yet he's always borrowing money from you that he never pays back. So you are funding their vacations. You see them traveling to all these beautiful exotic locations, staying in these expensive hotels. So let me get this straight. So all he's ever done for you is give you a baby? And you said he's a good father. How good of a father could he be if you said that he's verbally abusive to you? So what kind of father would allow his child to see him verbally abusing the mother? For me personally, you can't separate the two. Because he's giving the son a bad example. He's showing him bad behavior. You said he helps you around the house with man chores? What does that even mean? I feel like you got into it for all the wrong reasons. You knew the man was no good, but you overlooked it all. The fact that your family also turned a blind eye to it, that you had an engagement ceremony in Africa with his family and yours while this man is still married to somebody else. So you also said in your letter that you're a Christian now and you're changing your life, and I think that's a step in the right direction because God's not going to bless any of this until you get it right. He's not going to bless your relationship with some other man. God is not the author of confusion. So whenever there's confusion, that's a telltale, clear sign that God's not in it. That's how you know. That's the basics. If a guy's got you confused, you don't know where you stand, then you know God's not in that relationship. He wouldn't have you confused. So every time this man gets mad at you, he threatens to take your son. I think your only choice here is to not just be on the defense, doing whatever they ask you to do, trying to keep the peace. It's to actually go on the offense. Because there is no way that somebody is in and out of the country and they think they're going to take my child with them. If I were you, I would file for sole custody. I would prove to the court that it was me and me alone who was providing for the child financially, physically. It's you paying the mortgage. It's you buying the food. It's you providing the shelter. I would show that he has no record that he's ever done anything financially for the child. And I would show that he's never even spent time with the child. I would make a case to the court that I am the only parent the child knows, and that I would not be comfortable with my child going, because when you got to think about it, if he's back and forth in and out of Africa, how do you know they won't just take your child to Africa and not bring him back? Your Canadian rules may not apply over there. You don't even know what kind of person this is. She's demanding to meet your child. She's got the child on the insurance. She sure got over the fact that her husband had a baby with another woman real quick. Like, I would wonder, do they want my child? I feel like they want to play house and they want to pretend to be parents and they want to use your child to do it. You have every right to be alarmed. The wisest decision that you've made is not let this woman in your child's life yet. You need to stop letting people just do whatever they want to you. You've been far too passive. What are you doing lending him money? He makes 4 times the amount of money that you make. He's not even giving you any money. You're funding vacations? And you see how he's spending the money, so why are you giving him any? You're the one with the child to raise. The money is going in the wrong direction here. If anything, he should be giving you money to help to take care of his child. I feel like they sought you out. They thought you were naive. They thought you were young. Like he said, he's 35 years old, she's 51. Maybe they couldn't have a child together. And here you come. And they think you're naive enough to let them just take your child from you. That's my opinion. I believe that in like my core of my soul, I feel like they planned this. I feel like she knew he was gonna go have a baby and she was okay with it because she was 51 years old and probably couldn't have one on her own naturally. And instead of actually paying a surrogate to do it, this was their way. This is the time that you have to hit your knees harder than you've ever hit them before. This is the time that you pray. The more you pray to God, the more his voice gets clearer. The Bible says, my sheep know my voice. If you want to hear from God about what your next move should be, you got to get used to talking back and forth to him. If you've ever felt confused about any area of your life, and you feel like God's not answering you, talk to him more. The more you talk to God, the easier it is for you to distinguish between his voice and yours, his voice and the devil's, his voice and anybody else's. You need to ask God to make your next move crystal clear to you. But don't just let these people blackmail you. Every time they get mad at you, they threaten to sue for custody. You go out there and you file for sole custody while the ball is in your court. Don't let somebody threaten you with that. Got you keeping secrets and you lying to the wife. Please tell me you're not still being intimate with this man. There's nothing attractive about this. A man who's verbally abusive and he's married and he's cheap and he's not even taking care of your child. I don't see how that would be sexy. How does any of that turn you on enough to want to be intimate with somebody like that? Here he is borrowing money for fancy vacations and exotic hotel rooms, and he hasn't even thought about taking care of his child. These people will manipulate you and threaten you and guilt trip you to get whatever they want out of you. Your number one and main concern and priority is your child. And having your child be in the situation with a bunch of people he doesn't know, and they want to take the child back and forth to Africa, like, who knows? You don't want them to take your child and never bring him back. This isn't even safe. I think that you should be proactive and file for sole custody and get your relationship with God back to where it needs to be. You never date a married man. I don't care what he says he and his wife are going through. That's their business. And if he had any respect for you, he would clean that situation up before he pursued you. It is not cute. It is not sexy. It is not attractive. It is none of those things when a married man is hitting on you. I don't care what he got going on. You're not gonna make no mistress out of me. Anyway, I love you guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Be sure to thumbs up if you did. Also, if you have any comments and concerns and all that, be sure to post all of that below. And be sure to support the movement by purchasing both of my books. The first one is called The Dating Game, How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right. My second one is called Breaking the Man Code, The Key to Unlocking His Heart. Both books are available on Amazon, Kindle, and BarnesandNoble.com. They are Amazon.com bestsellers. Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll link both my books below, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time, later divas and dudes. Deuces, honey.